And then I had the whole concept. This vlog. I have to finish eating now. 5 things I learned doing Camp America.
How to read and write.
Haha. I think I learned, I don't know how to phrase it. Like, I did a lot of stuff on my bucket list that I didn't even know was there. Kind of vibe. Like, I learned sometimes you just have to be spontaneous and just go for stuff that scares the absolute crap out of you. Like, I did shark diving. I never thought I'd do shark diving. That was scary, and they were bull sharks. And I still think it's quite crazy that I did that. I don't really process that in my head. And then sometimes I think about it and I think, wow, I actually free dived with sharks. I could have got eaten, and I didn't. A bit crazy. And then I went to Post Malone concert in general. I've never been to a concert before. Fully lived life. What did I learn from that? That you have to live. Like, I don't know how to phrase it, but like, do stuff that scares you and that you want to do.
Do it scared.
Yeah, do it scared. Mostly the shark diving bit. I wasn't scared to go to a concert. I've just never been to one before,
No,
but it was quite
like,
cool.
had loads of trials and tribulations before you went with your injections and
Yeah, I
like
did.
all of your visa stuff, and it being very like your passport wasn't with you until literally you got to London.
The day before, yeah.
Like,
I killed off my cousin.
You did it all scared to do it, but you did it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, very true. This is why.
That's why I'm here, and I'm not
That's
just
why
sat
I'm
here
here.
doing nothing.
What else did I learn? I learned how, like, okay, I learned a big thing about myself, which was how, what's the word? Self something.
Love? Sufficiency?
Sufficient, I think, maybe. Self-sufficient I am. Because one of the nights we were playing a game, it was called We're Not Really Strangers, or something like that. It was a really good game. And you have like 3 different levels, and then you talk about stuff, and it gets deeper the more blah blah blah. We were talking about stuff, and we were talking about like experiences, childhood experiences, normal experiences, things, how people view themselves. And I realized how sure I am in myself, of like, not in a cocky way, that sounds really cocky, I need to explain that better, but like, whenever I had like worries or doubts, or like I had a bit of a blip, I would speak to people. Like, I spoke to Hannah, I spoke to like my friends there, or if I couldn't speak to anyone because everyone was busy or you were asleep because you were in a completely different country, or like, you know, I was alone, I would just journal. And I used to be able to like self-talk my way out of my negative thoughts, which I think is crazy, because like, I wouldn't have been able to do that last year this time. And you know, after being through therapy and all of that, I remember one of the times I journaled for like 4 pages, and then I was like, I read it back and I was like, whoa, I just fully like full circled and talked myself out of it. And I think that's really impressive for me, because I never would have been able to do that before. So I was like, wow, good on me. And then it was really nice to be able to share that knowledge and like help others with their experiences. Like, I felt like the wise old elf from Ben and Holly. I did.
I'm really sorry, you're probably going to have to re-record these with like me not in them, because I think I zoned out half of that, but I'm glad I heard Wise Old Elf.
I'm keeping you in.
You do seem more like, obviously you had like a little wobble when you got back, but you do seem more
I'll talk
like
about that.
sure of this is what I want to do with my life than maybe you were before. Like, you've always known that your business was,
Yeah.
Bollywood was the dream, but you seem more sure now that like it's achievable, and it's really nice to see. But you do seem more just like sure of it now, that you've proven to yourself that you can do Camp America, which was the next big bucket list thing.
Yeah.
So now I think you're like more sure you can do the next bucket list thing, because you've ticked one off, like you've done it.
Yeah. And I think what wasn't kind of on my list but did happen was that end of performance thing, because they asked me to do like an end of session dance, and I was like, okay, cool. And they were like really chill about it. There was no like pressure or anything. He was just like, do the one that you teach the kids for their like, because every session they would do like a play. I'd teach a different dance for every play they do at the end of the play. So just teach them that, and they can do that on the day. And I was like, yeah, cool. I was like, there's girls doing TikTok dances in the corner. But I was like, there's no way. I just make them do that. I was like, have you seen me? I'm a high achiever. I know. So then I brainstormed loads of things. And I was like, oh my God, we could do flash mob. We could do this. We could do that. People come from different angles. I had loads of ideas. And then I had the whole concept. Oh. Me. Is it gone? What was I saying now? Oh, I had all these big ideas, and like one of them was, I was gonna get everyone up and dancing for the end of performance. And I was like, is this even achievable? Probably not, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and I'm gonna try. So every class I had for like the end of like the last 3 weeks, I was like, right, we're doing this is what you need to know. I'll be on stage, you just listen for me, blah blah blah. And then like, because I didn't see a lot of the older kid classes, because obviously I had Discovery. Pause. Unpause. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, so then I had like, because I didn't see a lot of the older kids, I was like, I'm gonna somehow get everyone up and dancing at the end. And then I was really scared, and then I couldn't figure out the timing, but I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And then like it was like weeks of like just stress. I nearly sent myself into a mini relapse, but the stress was worth it. But yeah, and then I was like, oh my God, this is probably like the biggest performance I've done, because it was like a lecture. It was a proper like theatre full of 700 kids and counsellors, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is a lot of people. Like, I performed at events and stuff, even on my own, but like I've never really spoke on a mic. I just dance, and that's I know how to dance. I've danced since I was 7 years old, but the speaking bit, no. Even the vlogs, like seeing my journey of like when I would whisper vlog on the flights to now is crazy, because I don't care anymore. I'll just do it. I'm less scared now. I have my moments still. I still whisper sometimes, but on a whole, I'm a lot better. But yeah, and then I did that performance, and I just remember the euphoric feeling of, even when I was doing the dance, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I think that was the first time where I was like, this is achievable. There will be a day, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but at some point, I will plan to do a big like show. I can do it. Like, I know I can do it because I've done it now. And it was such an amazing opportunity to be able to be trusted to do that performance. And everyone was really impressed because they didn't expect it. Like, the director of the camp, Jason, was like, I thought it was going to be like 2 minutes long, even though he knew it was 11 minutes. He was like, I thought it was our part, because they knew that, like, all the coordinators knew it was the last bit. And they were like, I just kept going and going, and it kept getting better and better. And I was like, yeah, like, fully planned. And like, yeah, there were so many visions that I got to do, and it was just so fun. Yeah, I think that gave me like the self-confidence I needed in like, yeah, because I've always known I can do this, but it gave me that little boost of like, yeah, I just did that in Florida, like, crazy. And I didn't even check. Them told me that apparently Barack Obama him and someone else did like a speech in there or something, some sort of debate, and there's a penny on the floor of his or something like that embedded in the stage. I was too focused on the performance to. It's just clocked to me. Abby told me that. But yeah, that was one thing that I learned. Like it topped up my self-confidence jar. I don't know how to phrase this, so I might not use this, but I learned that like kids being in the unknown about certain, like, about Bollywood, about the culture isn't a bad thing. It just means that they need more information on it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think there was such a big fear of me going to, like, America and teaching Bollywood. And, like, again, that first class was traumatic. But as I started teaching, and I knew I was going to do the performance anyway, and, like, you know, I did hear, like, you know, Steph was saying that one of the girls at the start was like, I don't know if I'm going to like Bollywood, convinced she wouldn't like it, and then she loved it by the end. So it was nice to be able to be that information resource and teach the kids about Bollywood, about the culture, about any preconceptions they might have, and that it's not true, and Bollywood is a lot more than just twisting the light bulb, which is what a lot of them presumed it was. But it wasn't like it was just a blatant ignorism. Ignorance. Ignorism's not a word. It was like it was like ignorance. I think they learned by the end that Bollywood's a lot more than just that, and yeah, I learned that. Well, everyone kind of already knows this, but peer pressure, don't do it. Because there were so many, like, the group of people we were with, they wanted to go out a lot, like, a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, is one of the things you learn not how to say yes to things, but also how to
say no to things. Yeah, because there were so many, like, they wanted to go out like basically every weekend, every single day. Like, they were like, and I'm not that kind of girl. Like, yeah, I'll go, you know, here and there. But like, there was one night where they were like, oh yeah, you should come, and I was like, I don't want to. And then they were all dressed up and ready, and I just put my hoodie on, and then I was like, I need a dance. Like, I know what I need, and I'm gonna go do it. And then they left me alone, and I danced. And then after my dance, I felt really better, and then I did go out in the end. But like, I knew I needed that space to dance. There were other nights out where like I said no because I knew I didn't want to, and I didn't, just because everyone else wanted to and they wanted me to go, I still knew that I wasn't gonna enjoy it. So I was like, I'm not going. And it was nice to kind of develop that ability to say, yeah, no, I'm not going, and I'm standing by my decision because you can't force me to go, and I don't want to, so I'm gonna stay here. And then like I had a few other friends that were like that, which was nice, because then we would just go into the lecture theatre and watch a film, or we watched like Dance Moms one other night, or like, you know what I mean, like we would just do other stuff rather than going out. So as much as it is equally, yes, you know, be scared and do opportunities and do stuff, also know yourself well enough to be like, yeah, no, this is not my vibe tonight. Or like, I had my injections every 2 weeks, and usually on those days I felt really unwell, and people would be like, oh, come out, it's fine. And I'd be like, no, I feel faint, I'm not, like, I know my limits, and that's not it. So yeah, that was one thing I learned. You don't have to give in to peer pressure. If they're true friends, they can't judge you for that. So yeah, what else did I learn? I learned that being at camp makes everything feel more intense than it actually is. Like in the real world, if all the stuff happened at camp that happen now, I'd be like, meh. But because it's at camp and you're with all these people and you live in the same dorms as them, or you see them every day, it's such intense. Like, intense of like, oh, it's really nice that I can hang out with my friends every evening, and we can order Taco Bell every evening, or we can do this on the weekends, or we can go out to Miami, or we can do whatever. But in the same aspect, if something happened and upset the friendship group, or like people said stuff, or like, because I didn't have a roommate, I felt quite alone a lot of the times, because I was like, there's no vibes in this room, it's just me, and I have to create the vibes, and that's a lot harder to do when everyone's already doing pre's and like getting ready with their roommate or whatever. Like, everything feels more intense than it actually is, because if it was here, I would just be like, yeah, well, I live alone, like, I'll make the vibes and we'll go out. But like, because it's at camp and you can kind of already hear everyone, like, it was more intense than it needed to be. And that was a big realization I had kind of after camp, and I was like, yeah, everything was made like 10 times deeper than it needed to be. But, you know, that's just camp. I don't know what reason I'm on now. I have no idea. I'll do one more. That should be 5. I learned to really appreciate the Florida sun, which sounds really stupid, but Florida was hot, like really, really hot. And thankfully, you know, I was inside. I had aircon. That did die halfway through the term, but it's fine. But on the whole, I was inside. I wasn't outside working. I wasn't like bar car line. I wasn't really outside during the day. So I'm very grateful for that. But still, like during car line or like during the day, I'd be like, oh, it's so hot. Like, and I was like, no, I need to appreciate this, because I'll go back home. And yeah, fair enough, it's sunny today. But you know, the rest of the week is raining. So I really learned to appreciate the sun and like the little things, like while I was there. Although it was really hot, it was really nice having the Florida sun. Like just going to the beach for the evening. We only did that like once or twice, to be fair. Going to the mall, having like, being that close to all the people that I grew close to, and having them literally within the same campus. Like, yeah, fair enough, I didn't see like the KK guys very often, the overnight camp, all my friends there. But on weekends we'd meet up and be like, oh my god, this is so nice. And I used to really appreciate when we used to play games, or we used to watch a film, we used to do this or that. It was really nice to, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Sorry. But yeah, I think that's 5. I hope that's 5. That's all you're getting. I learned that to be, not even to be, I learned, actually, here's one thing I learned, which I didn't. Are you okay?
I've got something in my eye.
Oh, this is why we don't come to the park. Hannah's leaving. I'm gonna hide my donut for later. And there's like one bite left. I think it's gone now. Is it gone? Hasn't strong. Okay, nice. What is that? It's a bug. I don't know what else I learned.
I
I'm
can't do it.
trying. I learned